6:30 local time Saturday night. The victim.
The BBC World Service News is sponsored in part by you, the listener. This is listener-supported radio. CKCU 93.1 FM.
Good morning and welcome to Monday's Special Blend for today, the 27th of November 2023. I'm joined in studio today by Barb, as well as on the phone by Maria. Hey Maria, how you doing?
Hey, good morning. Good morning, bud.
We are broadcasting to you live today from the unceded traditional territory of the Algonquin Nation at CKCU 93.1 at Carleton University. It's good to talk to you again, Maria. I've missed talking to you over the last few weeks.
Yes. We got one really cool message. A Mary G donated $100 and said thanks for the show. There's so many people that are so appreciative of the Rainbow fundraiser that Ray Harris and Jeff LaRock did in support of Monday's Special Blend as well as Friday night truck stop. It really resonates in the community. Nice to hear. And you, my friend, what have you been doing?
What have I been doing? I've been doing a couple of things this past few days and weeks and stuff like that. Let's see, I last spoke to you, it was almost 2 weeks ago now. So since then...
That's right.
Well, I did this, did I tell you about the night protest that I went to at the...
Ooh.
I mentioned it on last week's episode, but I went to a night protest on Wednesday, the week before last, where we went to the National War Museum to protest the fact that RBC is being given an award for donating a bunch of money to the Canadian Geographic Society when their tagline is RBC destroys Canadian geography, as they're funding the expansion of pipelines out west. And yeah, that's...
Wow.
It's kind of hypocritical because...
did you shoot any footage on that?
Oh yeah, I did an hour-long live stream. That was my first test.
What I want to remind people of before we move on is that what we've been doing with Monday's Special Blend has been very unique. Nate's been going out and shooting footage during our funding drive. This has been our CKCU funding drive, and we want to say a big thank you to everybody who's contributed. Thank you so much for keeping us going. And Nate's been shooting footage as well as bringing audio together for the show. And on his channel, you're going to be able to see some of the events that have been put forward by our fellow DJs. And boy, we have a really great crew at CKCU.
Oh yeah, we definitely do. Speaking of one of the crew members here, tomorrow, I believe his show is named Songs for the Revolution. Let me double check here real fast. If I go to the library to...
Is this Graham?
Not Graham. His name is Christoph Ellie. Songs for the Revolution. It airs at the same time today. Same time tomorrow, I mean. On Thursdays. Wow. I've had too much coffee. I'm a little jittery.
Again, good morning.
Yes, I'm wide awake right now. But Songs for the Revolution airs every Tuesday, and Christoph Ellie is the host of that show. We've had him on the show about a month or two.
Did we not have him on?
Yes, we did. So he messaged me last week asking last minute if I could go cover something that was happening. So, have you heard of the Hunt Club Forest?
Oh my gosh, yes. Who hasn't? What a lovely space it has been up until now with the threatened disaster taking it all down.
Yeah, so I went to meet with some of the people that have been protesting for the past 2.5 years, trying to keep raise awareness and keep this forest as it is. So I walked through the forest. I did about half an hour video of the forest in the forest, and then I did a video of them doing a drive-by protest where they decorated their cars and drove through the arrivals section at the airport. And then after that, they did about an hour out on the street next to Hunt Club Road, and it was a little bit cold. It was a little bit cold, but I recorded an interview. Do you want to hear it?
Yes, please.
All right, let's play that interview now. It's about 8 minutes long, and I'll get back.
Hey, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Don't forget, folks, CKCU, we care about you. 93.1 FM.
Oh, yeah. Let's play that here, number 5. 1 second here, bring up the fader. Really read up too much about what's going on here at the Hunt Club Forest. Can you kind of give me a rundown for somebody that isn't really aware of what's going on? Why are you out here today?
So we are out here to save a local forest. It's a red pine plantation. We think the forest is about 65 years old. It is a federally owned land, and they have a mandate with the airport authority so that the airport authority is allowed to lease the land and to develop the land. We're here because things change, and this is a very important forest to the community. We are in a climate crisis right now, so we feel that this forest needs to be saved to help take CO2 out of the air and for our community to be able to go into. We've been out for 2.5 years.
I really like your hoodie. It's one of my favorite color, and it's got a great
yeah, and it's there's a great logo on there. Jason DeBoo, he's one of our group members who designed our website. He came up with this logo himself. So yeah, and it's perfect because we want to take care of the forest. It represents our group very well.
So what is being planned that you're trying to prevent from happening?
So the airport authority wants to lease the land to make some extra money, and they want to cut down this 10-acre land, and they're claiming that it's not safe for the community, and it does need to be managed, but there is no danger to the community. This is a very important forest for the community as well as our kids, so we want to save this for the future. We think, as I said, so this forest, red pine plantations can live up to 700 years. So this forest has got a lot of life left in it. Our airport authority is claiming that they're at the end of their lives, but they have hundreds of years more to grow and flourish.
Maybe if they were going to be harvested for paper or pulp or something.
And I think maybe I'm not sure what they were planning on doing with the trees, but what they're saying right now, the reasoning behind cutting the trees is for the safety of the public. We have a professional forest that was hired by the city who is saying that this forest is not dangerous for the public. So that's very important for the public to know. And going forward, this forest is not unsafe. People have been going into this forest for 50 years and walking their dogs, bringing their kids in here, riding their bikes. So this is a safe forest. It can be a very healthy forest if managed properly. There's hundreds of different plants and trees in this forest that we've had documented by a forester as well, who has been in there, and we've seen many types of wildlife, like tons of birds. There's a great blue heron that lives in the creek just over here, and there's pileated woodpeckers. There's hundreds of types of songbirds, and a hawk. There's hawks, turkey vultures. So this is an amazing forest filled with biodiversity.
I walked through it earlier this morning before everyone showed up, and I found that there maybe was one section there was a sign that says "Don't go down here," so I didn't really go that way. But I spent a good half an hour walking through the forest, and I didn't see anything that was concerning when it comes to dangerous trees or anything. Now, maybe down closer to the airport, there's a bunch of trees that are falling over, but that didn't seem to be a part of this section here.
No, there's these trees are standing up pretty well. There are a few trees that are leaning on others because of the storm from last year, the Dureco.
Yeah.
So they do need to be cleaned up, but they're very few and far between. They're not inside the forest. It's amazing to go in there. If anyone has a chance to go into this forest, please do. It's a beautiful forest with hundreds of trees that are just standing up. tall, supporting each other. And so that's why we're here and we're protesting today to stand with the trees, to speak for them.
It seems that there's a fair number of people driving by that agree with you.
Yeah, we've been out here for 2.5 years. Dozens and dozens of people honk every single day we're out here.
Yeah.
We wouldn't even need signs anymore. We're just a staple of the community here. Everyone knows us, and we get hundreds of honks. So the community, we have a petition, an online petition that has over 21,600 signatures. We have a Facebook group with over 1,000 people who are in the Facebook group. So this is what our community wants. We have spoken, and we need the government. We need the Minister of Transport, and we need our local MP, David McGuinty. We need them to start listening to us and start working with us. The federal government, the Minister of Transport, needs to change the mandate that they had with the airport in 1997 to protect this forest, because we're in a climate crisis, so they need to change the mandate. So I want to share a message with the public. Look, talk to, write to, call, email the Minister of Transport, David McGuinty, your local MP. Tell them that this forest is important to you and you want it protected. And they need to listen to what their communities want.
I heard that there's not much time left to be concerned about this. That they're planning on cutting it soon.
Yeah, so the latest news is that the airport authority has put out a press release saying they're going to cut these trees down in the next few weeks because of safety concerns. So we have been trying to reach out through the media, talk to our local government, trying to stop this in any way we can. And then we also have that forester that's come out that has said that they did not recommend cutting these trees, and that was one of the sources they cited on their press release. The airport authority cited.
So if people want to contribute, if they want to look it up, if they want to sign a petition, where can they get a hold of you?
They can go to our website. It's huntclubforest.ca. And we also have a Facebook group at Hunt Club Forest, at Save Hunt Club Forest. Or just call David McGuinty, our local MP, your local MP. Call or write the Minister of Transport, Mr. Rodriguez. Let them know that this needs to be done. We need to protect this forest, and also, call, email the airport authority. Let Marc LaRoche, the CEO of the airport authority, let him know that this forest is important for our community and to prevent climate change.
Somebody just came by, walked into the forest with their dog.
Yes.
I used to walk with my dog all the time in the forest. It's absolutely wonderful to do that. So.
Yeah, and the forest is very important for our community also because of mental health issues.
Yeah.
That COVID has proven that hundreds of people have gone into forests since COVID has began. We need to have forests in our communities that people can walk to as well, so we don't have to drive to a forest to see it, because not everybody has access to a car. So this is very important. I have an 8-year-old son, and I want him to have forests in his community so he can continue to go to them and benefit from them. There's so many health benefits for physically and mentally. We are a group of people this is very important to us, and we're not going to give up on this forest.
Well, thank you so much for talking to me.
Yeah, thank you for talking to me about this.
I wish you the best of the luck on this, and I'll keep following what happens.
Yes, thank you, Nathaniel.
Now, I have a little bit of time to fill here to figure out what to play. Didn't get somebody for the middle segment. I have no idea.
I can talk about it at the Writers' Festival.
I'm going to get a song to play before that. I've got another song that I want to do, and then we can do that. So I'm going to tell people what the name of the song is we just played, and then ask you if you've heard of this next musician. And if you can say yes or no whether you've heard of him or not. Does that sound cool? This has another 3 minutes. And then the next one is 11 minutes long. It's a live performance, which is pretty incredible. You'll see what it's like.
So you can hear the people, like...
I don't think you'll hear people.
Because often you sort of feel the presence of the people when it's a live performance.
Can't tell you for sure on that one. I played another version of that last week. This was the Holocene version 2 by KLANGPHONICS. That song has a clip in it from Sir David Attenborough at the World Economic Forum a few years back, talking about how the Holocene, which is the epoch of the Earth that just finished, is over now because of the amount of changes that humans have done to the world. We can really describe it now as being in the Anthropocene epoch. So yeah, that's something that we've done to the Earth, and we got to work on making sure that we don't destroy the ecosystem that we live in, because the Earth will probably keep going and be fine without us, but if we want to continue as humans to survive and thrive on this planet, then we got to worry about what we're doing. Well, I was talking to a guy on Instagram recently, and I saw him live at the Shankman Arts Center a few months, about a month or two ago, at the No Borders Art Festival. And I'm wondering, Barb, have you ever heard of somebody named Raphael Weinroth-Browne?
No, I haven't.
He's a local cellist who has a rather unique and mesmerizing method of playing his cello, where he's got a sampler keyboard where he uses pedals to control it and to record into the sampler, and he plays live into this sampler and then builds on that and builds on that and builds on that. So I was talking to him on Instagram. Apparently he has been on CKCU before, and probably a bunch of times, because he's so impressive in my opinion. Like, I love the music, it's so mesmerizing. So I messaged him and I asked him if he'd be willing to come on, and we're going to figure out what the best time is. He seemed very interested, and we'll have him on pretty soon. But here is one of his pieces, which will take us almost to Barb's interview in 15 minutes, because it's a little bit of a long piece. But this, remember, this was recorded live. Check this out. Hopefully more music this time than usual, because I didn't have a middle segment person. I've got some people in mind to line up to be on. I want to see, I'll email them and see if they're available for next week. I really want to interview the owners of Laney's Luck, the new thrift store on Bank Street right next to the highway. Thrift by the pound. Brand new. It's only a couple months old.
Sounds really good. So he's sort of like a one-man.
Yeah, so like he's there with his cello, and he does the bass line in, and then he pushes a button and he starts playing a different segment, and he pushes another button and he starts playing a third segment, and all the while the ones he did at first are playing through the speakers. Yeah, it gathers, definitely, that's a great way to put it. Yeah, so the beat here is from him hitting the cello. Oh, it's an absolute, it's entrancing. It's just absolutely mesmerizing to see him play this live. I'm jealous of his hair. His hair is like down to here, just like exactly like how I would want my hair to be. Same style, like same kind of physical hair, a little bit darker, but it's like right down, it's down to his waist almost. Hello? Yes, good morning, Werner. All right, I'm going to connect you into the board, and you'll be able to hear the song, and then Barb will introduce you and connect the conversation. Thank you for being here. That was Raphael. What was his last name? Weinroth-Browne. He'll be live at the Pili restaurant on this 2nd of December, so just coming up next week. I'll leave a link in the description here on the playlist, so you can take a look at that. Now we have Barb here with an interview you've got for us, Barb.
Good morning. Good morning, Roger.
Yes, good morning, Barb.
I have on the line author Roger J. Florschutz, and he's written a book called The Peruvian Book of the Dead. Now, usually I read the book, Roger, before I speak about it on air, but I have not read it. So let's begin with the title. How did you come up with the title?
Okay, the title. Well, in the story, the main character keeps a journal, and it has a cover of the very famous Tibetan Book of the Dead. But during his travels through Peru, he realizes, oh, this is going to be his Peruvian Book of the Dead. So he strikes out the word Tibetan and writes Peruvian. Of course, there's a lot more to that, but that's where it came from.
And how long did it take you to write the book?
Well, it took me over 10 years, actually. I was working on it for a long time, but I was also working for a living, and so I would only do it on the side. So it took until COVID comes along, and no one could do anything. I retired from work, and I rolled up my sleeves, and I got started and finished it.
So is the one protagonist, or do you have many different characters throughout the book that carry it through?
Well, yes, there are actually 4 narrators in the book, and they each tell their story. The stories overlap, and what I hear from reviews is that they find that very interesting, that you hear the story from different perspectives. Bits and pieces keep coming up, but you hear from another perspective, from another character's point of view. So certainly that is working very well in this book.
And have you traveled to the places that you write about in the book?
Well, the main character, the protagonist, in his early 20s, went to Peru in the 80s, and I did exactly the same thing. In the 80s, I went to Peru for a few months, and I found it to be a life-changing experience, and I also kept a journal. And interestingly enough, I gave the journal to a friend when I got back because I had written it to her as like a long letter, and she photocopied it a few years later and gave it back to me and said, Roger, you should have this. You may need this one day. And she was very right.
That's a wonderful story behind the book. So, do the dead play a role in this book?
There is a lot of death in the book. There are some ghosts or some supernatural parts of the book, but it's not a fantasy at all. The Tibetan Book of the Dead is basically the real Tibetan Book of the Dead is basically a chant for the dead to let them pass over into the next part of their journey, and that also sort of plays a big role in the book.
Yes, so give our listeners a reason why we should read your book.
A reason? Well,
entice us.
That's a great question. I think that this world is becoming very, how can I say this? Becoming less and less tolerant and accepting of different cultures, races, and identities. And so I hope that my book can be of some value.
And we'd like to ask the listeners to go out and buy it. And I guess it's around town. Is it online as well?
Yes. It would be wonderful if your listeners would go out and buy it. I think they would enjoy it very much. You can purchase it at Perfect Books, the independent bookstore on Elgin Street. The Spaniel's Tale has also asked me to bring them some copies, and it is available on Amazon.ca and Indigo as well, so you can order it online very easily. Yes, actually, if you just go onto your browser and type in the name of the book, you'll find a way to buy it.
Well, I'd like to thank you very much for telling us about your book today, The Peruvian Book of the Dead, and I will definitely look forward to reading it, Roger, and invite our listeners also to travel with your book in Peru.
That would be wonderful.
So thank you, Roger. I was just speaking with Roger J. Florschutz, who wrote the book, The Peruvian Book of the Dead. Thank you, Roger.
Thank you.
So, you had some other stuff you were talking about. I've forgotten what you were mentioning there.
I was mentioning the Writers' Festival.
Yes, that's right.
And there are just a few more things coming up before the end of the year. And one is a free event. R.H. Thompson will be presenting his new book, By the Ghost Light. This will be at the Library and Archives on the 28th, which happens to be tomorrow evening. And as I mentioned, it's free. By the Ghost Light, it talks about wars, memories, family, and how his own family history and how the Great War shaped and scarred the survivors. It looks at Thompson's history, and it's a powerful examination of how we understand war and its aftermath. So he touches on military history, art, literature, science, to express the tragic human cost of war behind the order and calm of our ceremonial parades and memorials and monuments. So it's a new way to acknowledge the dead. So this will be hosted by Andrew Cohn. It's a free event. Reserve your tickets at writersfestival.org, and it's at the Library and Archives of Canada. Now there's another event coming up on Monday, December the 4th at 7 o'clock, St. John's the Evangelist Church, 275 Elgin. This should be interesting. It's Peter Manbridge. He's going to join host Adrian Harewood to discuss how Canada works. So, of course, Peter Manbridge is one of those people who goes into the lives of Canadians and demonstrate what makes our country move forward. So that is on, and there are tickets for purchase for that Monday, December the 4th, 7 p.m. St. John's the Evangelist on 275 Elgin. And the very last one I should mention is one of our favourite Canadians, Rick Mercer, The Road Years. This is going to be hosted by Lucy Van Oldenbarneveld, December 7th. Tickets at writersfestival.org. This is at 7:30, Chateau Laurier. And who doesn't love Rick Mercer?
Oh, I know.
He speaks about truth and power, a few others. He does it, of course, with a smile and a wink.
Oh, speaking of Rick Mercer, when I immigrated to the country as a child in the year 2000, the people that was part of our new family and kind of people that we moved here with, eventually they actually, my sister married one of the boys from that family. The first thing they gave us was they had us all sit down and watch Rick Mercer's Talking to Americans, the special. Oh, it was hilarious. It really was a little bit of a crash course in Canadian humor. Oh, I loved it so much.
Yes, so this evening's going to sell out very quickly, so I think it would be nice. Because he had an audience for 15 seasons, so that was a long run.
Wow, yeah, it was a really good show. He's done a number of shows that I've really enjoyed.
Yeah, and people who can bring a laugh to our lives are really precious.
For sure. Now, coming up on the 10th of December, I was asked to mention the fact that the Alma United Church is having a Valley Voices concert called Sing We Now of Christmas. Tickets are $15 at the door and available at Baker Bob's. So on the 10th of December, come and enjoy Valley Voices Choir for a Christmas concert at this Almont United Church from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. And then one of the people that played at the fundraiser hosted by this Thursday special blend with Jeff LaRock at the Rainbow was Kristine St-Pierre. And I feel like I'm going to play one of her songs because I really like her music, and I just noticed the bass on this was also done by Raphael Weinroth-Browne. This is from her website, one of her latest releases called Break in the Sky. I don't think so. This should take us almost to the end, and then I have to play out the ending song.
See you on Monday.
Yes. Have a safe trip.
Yeah.
That was Kristine St-Pierre, Break in the Sky. Now, I should have muted the computer. Just kept playing there. All right. So I want to thank you for being here today. It was a little bit of more of a musical show than usual because I didn't have a middle interview to go for the middle of the show like I normally do. However, I've got some upcoming events that I'm going to be going to, such as some new exhibitions at the National Gallery, where I'll be talking to some of the people that are putting on their exhibits. And I want to remind you that if you ever want to look up any of the information that we talk about on the show, you can go to the CKCUFM.com website and click on the playlist for Monday Special Blend, where you can see the videos that I mentioned today, even the interview with Carolyn Marie Ewers regarding the Save Hunt Club Forest, as well as links to their website, links to the upcoming performance dates with Raphael Weinroth-Browne, the website for the author we spoke to today, Roger Florschutz, I believe his name is pronounced, and his link to his website, and then of course linked to Kristine's website. So, I've been your host today on this Monday Special Blend, Nathaniel Newton, and I look forward to hearing and playing more music and talking to you all again next week. Thanks so much for being here. Not as smooth as that I would have liked, but I'll work on it. Too much coffee. 10 seconds to go. And we're done.
CKCU is a public radio station licensed for broadcast.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to listen live on CKCU FM 93.1 in Ottawa and on CKCUFM.com. Where's my record button? Here. There it is.